And I think our school system needs a complete overhaul.
Our top matrics are better.
Without proper education, this country is not going to go anywhere.
So where are the solutions coming from and why aren't we finding them?
Students have the necessary education.
There has been a buzz on campus as a result of Rhodes Must Fall, the campaign that has sparked a great deal of discussion on campus as well as in other campuses. Especially recently, we had a statement made by the SRC saying Rhodes must transform, the university must transform. And this has also sparked a great deal of discussion. So today on OppiTV, we're joined by the SRC President to further discuss the recent statement that was made by the SRC. Thank you for joining us, Siyanda.
Thank you for having me. Welcome.
Yeah, I have to say a lot of people have been looking forward to the statement.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big national issue currently at play. It started off in UCT. It came to our campus and it's gone to WITS and UKZN this morning.
Okay, just to get into the statement, right? You say the university must transform, but from what I read, it's not clear exactly how you're saying the university must transform. So how should the university transform?
The statement is probably not clear to the reader or to the student. Specifically because the SRC Activism and Transformation Council is currently drafting a transformation strategy, and I must just put it out there that this 2-week VAC is not VAC for the SRC. We're actually going to be Skyping in, going to be communicating amongst each other, the activism transformation.
Okay, don't you guys go through strat plan before you go into office to discuss these things?
We do, and fortunately the Activism and Transformation Councillor is having his second term in his office. And
so he should know exactly what he's doing.
Yes, last year he was mainly focusing on activism, and this year he did indeed say that he'll be focusing on transformation. And one of the things that he's been working with is the Office of Equity Institutional Culture, Ms. Noxolo Nklapo, the director, and one of the key fundamental issues they've identified is with that committee, where the SRC has 2 seats, him and myself, and they've been 12 recommendations from that committee. And this is not communicated because it has not materialized. And I must assure all our student body that we are working on our transformation strategy plan, and that committee has 12 recommendations. And interesting enough, one of the recommendations is recommendation 6, which talks to Rhodes University having a space for its memorabilia. You would know that before '94, we used to have a Cecil John Rhodes bust, which was at the main foyer at the admin building. It was removed in '94, charged by the then SRC '94, and it has since been moved to Courier Library. And
so speaking on that, obviously you're bringing up the name change discussion, and a lot of people have said that the name should change as a result of us moving forward as a society to redefine ourselves and to come up with an identity that is not as colonial based, if I can say that. What's your response to that?
Yeah, the name change comes because of transformation and slow transformation at Rhodes University. And the SRC is in a position to say that name change is one of many transformation issues. We talk of gender transformation on our campus. The fact that all our deans, except for 1, 2, education and law, are women. That in itself is problematic. The fact that there's not a lot of HOD women, that is in itself problematic. We talk of institutional culture, how our culture, although liberal, liberal in the sense that it says that an individual should come with these ideas, his or her ideas, and convince the other party with those. And we must appreciate that. However, is our institutional culture ensuring that each and every person is comfortable and that is involved in the institution itself? I must say personally, as a Black South African coming to Rhodes University in 2012, I found Rhodes to be uncomfortable. I found Rhodes to be exclusionary. You can imagine, I'm Christian, I'm conservative, I'm from Pretoria, highly conservative community, and I come here and I must now accept gays and lesbians.
So
I must accept other religions.
So
it is an uncomfortable space.
Yes. Okay, so you are saying the university must transform, and you have been uncomfortable in this university, but I still have to go back to how it's not clear in your plan to say exactly what needs to be done. There has been a group of students who've made some recommendations to the university to say exactly what needs to change, and some people, well, a lot of students on campus I've spoken to feel that you are sitting on the fence and not taking the side or not siding with the students. What's your take on that?
It's a very difficult one because, number one, you must remember that we represent the entire student body. So for us to have to say we must represent a portion of our student body who advocate for a name change and alienate the rest of the student body would be unjust of us as an SRC. Number one, we are a political SRC. We do not subscribe to any ideologies or any party politics, or we do not subscribe to any superstructure. So our mandate is derived from the student body, and if the student body itself says name change, we must listen. And if the other portion of the student body says no to the name change, we must therefore come together as an SRC and provide platforms, the one which we provided last week. The very same platforms must be provided to allow for conversations to go through.
Yes, you attend.
Unfortunately, we're a
yes.
liberal institution.
Okay, I actually want to speak about that, but before that, the first protest that you were there, you attended there, I saw you there. Kamalita Naika said, the SRC is using this idea of being objective to sit on the fence and not listen to a group of students who are saying exactly what their needs are.
Look, I think it's fair on our side. We listen to both sides, to tell the honest truth. We're listening to the Black students movement, specifically who advocate for a name change, and we're listening to the entire student body who are, to a certain extent, advocating for a name change.
Okay, let's go back to being a liberal institution, and how the idea that there are no party politics. Do you think that's a way of for the university to silence student voice?
Not at all.
Campus?
There's nothing in the Rhodes University statutes that says no to political party. There is no way in the SRC constitution that talks
But they're
no
not
party
allowed
politics.
to run for SRC
That's
under
incorrect.
a political party.
That is incorrect. Last year, SASCO ran for the SRC. Mr. Mbuso ran for student benefits and student benefits and sponsorships. Lilina under SASCO ran for Secretary General, and a number of other people ran under the SASCO banner. The last SASCO SRC we had in this institution was 2009, where Kolosa was SRC President of the SRC. So nothing in the Rhodes statutes, nothing in the SRC constitution disallows any political parties to run. Actually, we encourage political organizations to run.
Okay, if you encourage political organizations to run, or the voice of political organizations, and here I will read one of the objectives of the Constitution of the Students, or so it's called. And it says, the Constitution is founded by the students for the students with a developmental consideration of the functional needs of the university student population. We, as the active voice of the student body, acknowledge our duty to maintain a key responsibility in the workings of the institution. The document is intentionally flexible, a simple, accurate representation of the unique dynamics of the university. So this, even to me, still sounds vague. When it comes to a group of students, the Black student movement, I attended a rally today they had, and one thing that came out of that is that there's a group of students who have been historically, and you said yourself when you came here you were uncomfortable, this is a group of students that have been uncomfortable historically, and there's a history that has gone into making them uncomfortable, and as a result of these students being made uncomfortable, they are saying they're making demands to the university and saying something needs to be done, and you are saying we need to be objective about that. Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is the SRC is there to serve the entire student body.
Okay.
And what I'm saying is the Black students movement, feeling excluded, feeling uncomfortable in this space, to charge the SRC, so the SRC could charge management that a certain portion of our student body still finds itself in 2015, 21 years down the line, uncomfortable. And I mean, it is unfortunate that people find themselves uncomfortable, and they should be charging the SRC. That is why myself and the Vice President have been making efforts to meet with members of the Black students movement 8 times, and to no avail. They have said to us that they do not want to meet with the SRC. We have even gone as far as to attend uninvited to their meetings, and we've been told a number of times that we do not belong here and that this is not an SRC platform. So the SRC is in itself there for the students, by the students, rightly so, pointed by yourself. And as such, we have made efforts to come to Black Students Movement meetings, and as such have been attacked, bashed, or told that this is not an SRC platform. And, you know, if that's the approach that students would like to take, of course, we are in a position to open platforms such as an urgent. I am mandated as president of the SRC by the Constitution to open an urgent student body meeting as such last week. And if a number of students come to my office and they say they would like to have that platform, I am in no way constrained by anyone in this university to not open that platform. Such a platform will opened, and students will deliberate on matters.
Okay, so how does this work? We have a group of students who've given you, demands, or have given the university demands, and I think we are going to go around in circles, so I'll make this point for the very last time. You have a group of students who've made demands to say this is what we want, and your argument is we need to listen to the entire student population. So when, say, gay students on campus say we feel uncomfortable, the university needs to do something, do you say we want to hear from the entire student population if something needs to be done?
Of course not. This goes to, I'll make an example to you. A portion of students found themselves financially excluded beginning of this year. It's a portion of our student body, about 355. The treasurer and the student benefits and sponsorship councillor were in a position to advocate for them to come back to the university. 85% of that student came back. So if you come to the SRC, your representative council, we will charge the university.
Okay, big difference there, because you're talking about something that's already embedded within the culture of the institution, and what people are bringing up now is the change within the culture of the institution. But let's move away from that and talk about the recent gathering that happened, I think it was last week, with students that you called with the VC. Tell us what happened and what you made of that.
This was in light of events happening on campus, specifically the hashtag Rhodes So White. And after realizing the amount of media attention we were getting throughout the whole country, we saw it fit that we should call for an emergency student body meeting. And in that student body meeting, while brainstorming, a suggestion to call Professor Malem from the history department to talk about the name in question. Why were we called Rhodes University? Why were we called after Cecil John Rhodes? Number two, to call the Vice-Chancellor as principal of this institution to explain the position that the university has in terms of its transformation policies. And for him, as the new Vice-Chancellor, to explain to us what his dreams or his goals as the new Vice-Chancellor is around transformation. Number three, to call the registrar to explain to us his acceptance policies, because we have realized over the years that Rhodes University's student body demographics has changed and it has, to a certain extent, transformed. So for him to come and explain to us what he has done as the registrar, being that he's the custodian of the university.
So it sounds to me, yet again, that we are, you guys, the SRC, are, hoping for the answers to fall from Lord knows where, instead of actually provide a way forward for the students.
Look, students took to social media. The SRC listened. And the SRC is now saying, come and account to students.
So the students said Rhodes must fall on campus. How did the SRC listen?
Students did not say Rhodes must fall.
That was the hashtag. If you're saying, and this is your thing, hashtags, students remain central. So how did the SRC listen to that?
Students did not say hashtag Rhodes must fall. Students talked about Rhodes So White. And as the SRC, we listened to those cries. Hence the platform we created last week. And because students were waiting for an answer from the SRC, we are not employees, number one, of the university, and therefore the university must account to those issues.
But you do have some privileges from the university.
We do, and that privilege is to represent students, to sit in university committees on behalf of 7,500 students. That is one of the privileges we have.
Okay, one thing you mentioned in the statement is transforming the mind of the student body away from Eurocentrism, which I thought was good, and many ideas are good on paper, but how do you guys plan on seeing this idea through?
The Alan Gray Center of Leadership is currently having a common course. It's been piloted this year. The academic councillor, I sat in that with the drafting of that as academic councillor last year. The Activism and Transformation also sat with that, with the then Dean of Teaching and Learning, Professor Chris Iba, who is the current acting DVC. And that course talked to a common course. University of Free State currently has GovC 101, which is a common course and for across the whole board, which speaks to transformation, race relations, gender relations, political relations, all these contemporary issues. So we are charging Rhodes University to move away from Eurocentrism. And I did say this in my interview with the SABC yesterday, the fact that I do Soc 1 and I don't study, I don't learn about Steve Biko is a bit problematic, or Robert Sebukwe on Pan-Africanism is a bit problematic, and I have to learn about Durkheim or Weber, for instance. So we're moving away from Eurocentrism and speaking to the history of this country, the present of this country, and future aspirations of this country. That is what we were talking about. And I know for a fact, because I was academic councillor last year, this was in the pipeline, and I'm happy that this year it's been pipelined. For about 29 students are currently taking the course, and next year we will be charging this year for next year that students take it as a credit-bearing course next year.
Okay, so hopefully, there'll be some collaboration there with the Black student movement that you say you've been talking to, and apparently, none of that has been communicated.
Definitely, and I would plead with them actually to come. We at the top floor, student Beaker building, or you can just have a young tag with me on Facebook.
Okay. Thank you for joining us for a compelling conversation about transformation and institutions of higher learning. And of course, we encourage you to continue the conversations on social networks in a healthy manner. And of course, we would like to say a big thanks to Siyanda, the SRC President.
Thank you
for joining us. Thank you. My name is Welcome, and thank you for joining us. You're watching OppiTV.
Under the age of 21 will continue.
Position shackles and bones, and the boogie started.
The law has failed time and time again.
We are angry.
For students to showcase their talent.